Alright, so MELASCULA, a lot of you have been asking me to do a guide for MELASCULA. So today we're going to run through how to go about building your team. And I do realize right now the character is red, and on screen now you can see she is going to be changing colors in the next few days or so. So don't worry, towards the end half of the video, this video should still be relevant. We're going to build some teams. In theory, my team might change and I might do like a little bit of an update guide as the weeks go by. But I'll give you some ideas about how you should be building your team. We're going to run through what she actually does and how to play around it. But the one thing I want to talk about right now, and spoiler of my team, is the boss has now changed. Before with Gallant, you could deal damage towards him as much as possible. And now the MELASCULA, as you can kind of see his icon right here and think of it as levels. So the more times you do damage towards her, the more her stats are going to increase. So right now she's getting more defense, she's getting more accuracy, she's getting more resistance, crit defense, so just more stats to where you eventually will hit a point. And for me, it's around like the level 70, 69 mark, funny enough, right? To where my character stopped dealing damage, or at least a lot of damage, right? And I always hit around like 10 mil, like minimum for this team. But like I said, there are ways and a lot of RNG that goes into this raid boss to where you can probably squeeze out an extra 1 to 2 million. If you look at the rankings, these guys have got like 30 mil, 60 mil. And unfortunately, there's no way for me to get that far in unless I just want to have a lot of deeps in my characters. And that's kind of why, if you look at my ranking, Fate, who's like my #1 on my server, is almost double people in terms of damage, because he is just a mega well, has so much more stats, not only in his characters, but also the tavern level, his secret treasure, his research lab, and his constellation. These actually matter in terms of making your character deal damage. So I say all of that to say that it doesn't matter really what team you bring, because even if you bring like a full int team that's type advantage, you'll probably near enough hit the same amount of score. But like I said, there are ways to get like an extra 1 to 2 million, which is going to depend on your team. So let's talk about the character. Alright, so let's break down how the character actually works. So what she does a lot of debuffs. She has this skill passively, Doubt, where every 10 seconds you're going to get hit with blind for your dex characters, which will decrease their actual accuracy by 50%, which can be very bad, especially because they know everyone's bringing king. So getting hit by 50% accuracy lower on king means he might not successfully attack someone, which means you might not get your actual buff, right? But we'll talk about ways to remove that in a second. Also, every 7 seconds, a random DPS hero in range, very important, in range, can actually get isolated, and an isolation debuff means you can't use any skills or move at all. You're basically just gone from the fight, basically, right? However, this debuff is infinite. There's no way to remove it other than cleansing. Like, it doesn't run out, right? So yeah, it's very important to bring a cleanser, which is like someone like Gluxinia, for example, or Zneri. She also stuns a random support hero, and she also lowers the accuracy within range as well. So yeah, doing a lot of debuffing. So for me, I think the best strategy is to bring a cleanser and put them #1, because the way I have only found out during right now just raid boss, but like when you get stunned, like isolation, that goes into your random DPS hero. Like hypothetically, if it goes in towards Barn, if Barn gets disabled and we have enough energy to use Escanor, Gopher, Diane, Arden, and Arthur's ultimate, even though we have enough energy, as long as he can't use ultimate, we can never go forward in an ultimate order. Like, these lot can't ult until Barn ult. So it's very important to put, like I said, your cleanser first, especially because if he cleanses, then King always, no matter what, unless he gets hit by like a minimal second of that cleanse going off to get hit with that accuracy lower. Obviously, if he's stunned as well, we can cleanse that and just boom, pop off with our actual abilities. And in Goldford's probably the most important character as well, because you can actually reset your ultimate order a little bit faster by getting him to cleanse even more and get more ultimates off. And the accuracy buff from Goldford's pretty good. Diane, I'm bringing her right now because she does work. If you're wondering, I have now changed my actual potential for Diane. I've now given her full attack because I've realized whenever I use her, I always use her in like modes, especially the Silver Demon, where I'm trying to deal as much damage as possible. So I don't really care about her surviving because she always survives anyway. Let me just get that little bit extra damage. So yeah, I've now given her attack. Yeah, her ultimate does work, but once again, it doesn't matter. Like, we're doing high damage anyway early on, and we get towards the late end half. I don't care about petrifying. I mean, if we get it off, that's fine, but she's still going to kill me anyway, right? Arden's damage we don't care about, but hey, do more damage, and then singles for Arthur as well. If anything, I might do this. Because of this ability, it's very important to bring more than one DPS hero that is one within range. Like Arden, like I said, it's not in range, which is why he's in front. He runs to the back anyway, doesn't matter. But essentially, that does mean either Escanor or obviously Barn are going to get isolated. And that's very important we don't get our actual Barn isolated. Even though right now Escanor is type disadvantage, he can, one, still actually get isolated, which will be actually a good thing. And because for me, he's decently duped out and he's got type advantage on his ultimate, we might as well bring him. So I think I've talked enough, right? Let's just jump in. You can see the gimmick of what we're doing right now. But yeah, we do a lot of damage. And then honestly, I think bring characters that don't rely on ultimates is kind of the key a little bit here, because it's gonna be hard to get towards the later end half of the actual ultimates. So like right now, Arthur being on the team where we can buff up Barn's crit damage, because as you can see, Barn is doing the most, but he doesn't require an ultimate, which is obviously very, very good. And then right now, you can see we always get around like the 11, 10 mil. But if we get some big crits, which we didn't, and we didn't get any good heals either. Oh, wow, 40 mil? Oh my god, the Bard hit a crazy damage crit there. Yeah, 14.6 is the highest I've ever done. As you can see, the highest I've ever done right now is 12. Because obviously this is just practice. But yeah, I think on a good run I can get like 13 mil. But 14 mil is crazy actually. So yeah, I mean, that's kind of the gimmick of the raid boss. I mean, if you pay attention, you kind of see what we're doing a little bit, where we are actually, you know, cleansing. So if you pay attention, you can see right now, let's see who gets isolated. Okay, so Arden got isolated. Okay, you know what? I think Arden being up close is actually pretty good, which is why I put him in front. I'm just that good at the game, I didn't realize it. Because, yeah, if it didn't get hit onto Escanor or Bond, that's really, really good. So, yeah, 12 mil again. So, yeah, I unironically think putting Arden right here is good. Because if I put him here, he would never get... I've never had Arden get hit by the isolation debuff, because he's so far behind. Where right now, she actually does get pretty close towards the MELASCULA. And then he can get isolated, which is actually good. So, Bond or Escanor doesn't get it. Plus, it's also 1 and 3 there, rather than before being 50-50. So, yeah, that is the team you want to bring for the int teams. Hopefully, I explained how this boss works, and hopefully it did help out a little bit. But moving on towards the other cutters. Okay, so from the 16th onwards, she is going to change towards being a green boss. So, you would bring red characters. This is the ultimate order. I would think I'd work on a little bit, probably like this, actually. Maybe you might put Melee first, but because of right now, my Melee's only 3-star, I'm not really, like, focusing too much onto him. He might be alright, but to be fair, boys, you still might even use this team, because, well, maybe swap out Arden and Diane, but like having just Barn on the team, because for me right now, he's like my highest DPS target, so he might still be good in his raid boss, even though I'm not really bringing him. Once again, this is just some theory teams, right? So yeah, if you want to lean more in towards like the red team a little bit, like I said, bring Elette, should be good to increase the crit chance. Especially good for, obviously, Mediolis. Also, Kane being a really good DPS too. He's going to do quite a lot as well for the team. Obviously, just dealing good damage for, like, a free-to-play little bit. I haven't got Fraujin, only because he's 4-star for me. I haven't even used him, but maybe I'll try him out to see if he can actually like deal a little bit decent damage. But even still, you may not even want to bring a tank character, because once you get to the point where she starts doing damage, your whole team's gonna die anyway. So maybe to bring like another, support tool or another actual DPS will probably still be pretty good. But this is probably what I do a little bit. Maybe you want to lean more in towards like Monspeed and take off Elette and put Melee in a little bit, because at this point, at least when Monspeed does load a critical resistance, you're gonna get more crits not only off on like Escanor, but go for it as well, and like, you know, have more team synergy. But if you were to use the ultimate, this is probably what I do, I think. Once again, bringing the cleanser first, maybe doing this and then putting this on like this, I think. I don't know, like, once again, we might lean more into Escanor, so, like, maybe I won't bring Elette and bring, once again, Monspeed. But yeah, if Melee is duped out for you lot, or pretty good DPS for this raid boss, then I'll probably look something like this. The next color she's going to be is going to be blue, which means you want to bring green characters. So, of course, Escanor is going to be the king here, finally have a type advantage where he's going to do a lot of damage, to where you may not even need to bring Barnes, so we'll need a lot more into towards green. And she's still going to have that passive to where your close range DPS targets are going to get isolated. So now, we can now bring Melee and also Belion, because they're both close range DPSs. They might get targeted and not Escanor, which is what we don't obviously want. And yeah, once again, bringing our cleanser first. The cleanser thing, Monspeed can be really good as well. Then followed up by King. And then also bringing our actual Liz, because she's doing almost the exact same thing as Gopher by reducing our cooldowns, while also giving our green characters more actual crit chance, right? Because if she does crit, which she should be able to crit, especially early on, because the boss's stats are very, very low. And since we're lowering the critical resistance a little bit with, obviously, Monspeed, not going to be too bad. So yeah, I can like this team. I'm probably going to run this one. Bellion's going to be alright, because if he does buff remove, then he actually will be able to remove that evasion, and that might help us out a lot as well. And then finally, she's going to change towards being an int team, which means you want to bring blue characters. So bringing some blue characters is going to be very, very good as well. Escanor, plug and play. Bon is going to be type neutral, so it might be worth bringing him a little bit. I'm not entirely too sure, but Galland can be pretty good. You might want to bring in Hendrickson to where he might be a decent damage dealer. Like I said, you may not want to go towards draw, because once again, you want to go more DPS, but we'll try him out. Once again, the boss isn't out yet, so I don't know the exact team I want to bring, but it's something I'm probably looking towards a little bit. With the ultimate order looking something like this, I imagine, where you cleanse, buff up a king, get the Gallon buffs, because Gallon's probably one of the best DPS for this raid boss during the blue week, and then popping off with Escanor and Barn, and then follow up by Gopher. You know, this standard stuff we've been doing. So, yeah, guys, I think that is going to wrap up the video. Hopefully helped out. I think the biggest thing that I want to stress a little bit for the int team is maybe, yeah, put Ardent in the front, because he can now actually get isolated, which is very, very good. Let me see if he gets isolated again. Yeah, him getting isolated is actually the better thing, so we can pop off with actual Escanor and but how much damage do it? 12 million. Yeah, so like it really, really depends on the crits, I think. So bring someone like Glocks to lower the critical defense to where if you do manage to get a crit and like a really good run, you can get some big hits, because I think towards the end, yeah, we've got like a really good hit with Barn, so we've got like 900 million, which is the highest damage I think I've ever done in a raid boss. So guys, thank you for watching. Hopefully it helped out, and yeah, peace.